Hello Data Wizards. Today we'll be solving a question that was asked at Instacart. The question asks us to find stores that were opened in second half of 2021 with more than 20% of their reviews being negative. A review is considered negative when the score given by the customer is below 5. Output the names of stores together with the ratio of negative reviews to positive reviews. So let's look at the data set. We're given two tables. One is a review and one is a store. In the review, we have 4 columns. We also have 4 columns in the store data. There's ID, customer ID, store ID, and score in the reviews, and information about stores in the stores table. So right off the bat, you know that you would need to join these two tables to get what you need. If I were to guess, it would be the ID on the store ID will be connected to the store ID in the reviews. And this is something you can talk to your interviewer about to confirm. And if that's not true, they will hopefully direct you in the correct direction. So let's join those two tables and look at the data set. So we'll select everything for now from we can just copy and paste. We'll just call it R for now. Let's also format it correctly for ease of readability. We'll join it on the stores and call it S on. You need to use join, not on. And then r.store ID and s.id. Let's look at our data. All right, we have all the columns here, but as you may know, we don't need all of them, really. We only need the names of the store and then the score for now. So we'll select name and the score. And of course, this is talking about the second half of 2021, which means we're going to have a where clause to filter out the data that we don't need. So let's use a where clause, and then there's only one date column. That's the opening date. So let's use that to filter. And we can use between in Postgres. 2021 July is the second half, the beginning of the second half, and the end would be December 2021. All right, let's look at our data set. All right, so what we see is the number of rows just for the second half of 2021. And we have all the scores here, but as you see, we don't need to know the individual scores. We need to know what is a positive score and what is a negative score, which is defined by whenever the score is below 5, that would be negative. One easy way to do that is use a case statement. So we'll remove the score column and use a case statement to get positive and negative. When the score is less than 5, then we'll just give it 1, else 0. And as negative, we'll just give this column name as negative review, because any score that's less than 5, we're giving it a value of 1. What's wrong here? So I don't know why. Anyway, so this is anytime you see 1, that means it's negative. Anytime you see a 0, that means it's positive. All right, we have the data that we need in order to get the ratios now. And let's give it common table expression so that we can extract the data and make it more readable. And we'll just call it temp table for now. So we need the name, so we need the name, and we need a ratio of negative reviews to positive reviews. All right. The negative reviews is basically sum of all the ones that we see here grouped by the name of the store. Negative review from temp table, we have to group by the name, store name. Yeah, okay. So 7-Eleven has 0 negative reviews second half of 2021. We're also concerned about, we also need to know that it's not just the sum of negative reviews, but it has to be more than 20% of their reviews. So we can get that by using a having clause, having average negative review. 20%, 20 divided by 100 is 0.2. So we can just do 0.2, and then you get everything. All right, so we get all the stores that have more than 20%. So the way we get a positive ones is take all the reviews and subtract the negative reviews, which would be positive, which would be sum, well, let's do count of everything, and subtract sum of negative review and let's call this positive. We need a comma here. So these are all the negative reviews and these are all the positive reviews, and we need a ratio of that, which is basically division of both. So let's copy this one and we're dividing it by the count, dividing it by the positive. Let's call this ratio. All right, so we have the ratio, except 3 divided by 2 is now 1. When you divide an integer by integer, you get another integer. The one way to get the correct answer of 1.5 is to cast one of them as a decimal. In Postgres, you could use a shortcut way of 2 colons and DEC to cast, and then that's what we get. But we don't really need these 2 columns. And so we can just remove that and get the final answer, and it looks like it is the right answer. So just to recap this a bit and see why this is a hard question, you need to know how to use group by and having when dealing with this question, and also know how to cast it to decimal and use case statement. And the combination of all of these, it's regarded as a hard question, but when you break it down into its parts and do step by step, it is pretty easy. So there we have it, and until next time, see ya, Data Wizards.